Greetings everyone, House here, back in the sweet summer heat of deep South Texas. And you guys, I've got to be honest, I am worried about the direction of Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. There's a few things that are happening that make me a little concerned as a fan of the game, and a fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, and I wanted to take some time to revisit this game and talk to you guys about it. Hopefully we can start a good discussion, but without further ado, let's dive in. Currently, we're seeing a lot of new teams added to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's different teams focusing on different things. We've switched over who's actually developing the game, and a lot of road bumps have come up. It seems like there has been a few things changed, a few things addressed. Definitely the skill tree issue. They've recently, as of recording this, addressed the grappling issue, at least it appears so from my limited testing. But things are kind of in a weird state. This is to be expected when changing hands on development, and it is some growing pains that I totally expected to see. However, things seem a little unfocused right now. Game balance still seems to be a mess based on my testing, and it was one of the big things that when I was tempted to return to this game, kind of turned me off to the whole experience. Like I said, they are making some changes, addressing some things, but it seems like the response is taking longer than the community really wants. Matchmaking is still a little weird if you're not playing family, especially. And I've still experienced leavers, cheaters, and griefers in my few games I tested out the other day. A big thing is, nobody wants to play family still, from my experience. The queues for families seem to be pretty instantaneous for me, and even though I don't play victims personally, I have witnessed some people who kind of tend to lean towards the victim side of the game, having outrageous queue times. If nobody wants to play family, we have one half of the game that is not being filled. That doesn't work well, especially for an ASIM game. And to see that this is still an issue that's ongoing months later after I stopped really investing much of my time into this game is a little discouraging, I have to be honest. Another big issue that came up is Texas Chainsaw Massacre game leaving Xbox Game Pass. Now, I know some people did purchase the game because they enjoyed it while they played it on Game Pass, but a majority, I'm sure, did not. I remember seeing a statistic a long time ago saying that the game sold about 1 million copies, but there were about 5 million people playing it on Xbox Game Pass. This was from early in the game's lifespan, but if we can assume that that ratio is still somewhat accurate, that's 5 people on Game Pass to 1 person that purchased the game. That's cutting off a huge chunk of your player base, and to assume that everybody who played this game on Game Pass is going to purchase the game is kind of foolish in my opinion. People really like to crutch on the Game Pass numbers, and I don't think that people really factor in the fact that if you have Game Pass, you have access to everything. There's a lot of games that come out now, a lot of good games. If I can check out a game that I'm not really sure if I would enjoy, I will, especially in a Game Pass scenario, where access is essentially free to me since I already have the pass. What I'm not going to do is stick around with a game that I feel is having some issues. And I'm sure a lot of the Game Pass players maybe checked it out for a weekend, played with some friends, but they didn't stick around in the long term. Some of those people did, though. Some of those people did enjoy Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and when it left Game Pass, they were forced to make a decision. Do they continue playing by purchasing the game, or just move on to the next thing? With the current state that the game's in, I don't feel good about the chances of them deciding to commit to purchasing the game. Without a player base or a reason to return or check out the game as a new player, things are going to dry up pretty quickly. That's why I was so confused when I saw the announcement for Rush Week. For those of you that don't know, this is a 1v6 game mode where Johnny is kind of infiltrating and attacking a sorority house based on my limited understanding of what the mode will be. Is this cool? Yeah, absolutely. I like it. I like the kind of feel that it's 80s. It takes place after the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, but I won't lie to you, it really made me worried. Whole content pass thing aside, why are we doing this? Why are we focusing on an entire new game mode right now when our main mode is still kind of in dire straits? The balancing in the main game mode certainly seems off to me based on the games I've played and a lot of things I've seen the community talk about. And introducing an entire new mode while refreshing and something new to check out is going to take resources and time away from fixing the main bread and butter of the game. On top of that, balancing a 1v6 game mode is going to be much more difficult than a 3v4 game mode. I've seen what the devs have been able to do with the balancing of 3v4. Why would I assume that 1v6 is going to be balanced in any way? What I would like to see is more TLC put into the main mode balancing. This is critical issue number 1 in my opinion. It's what's bleeding current players and the barrier of entry for people who are maybe looking to get into the game who haven't tried it yet. If they ask a friend, hey, is this game fun? Should I check it out? Yeah, it's kind of fun, but there's a lot of issues with balancing, and there have been since the game came out over a year ago. I'm not going to check that out. Most people aren't going to check that out. I want a reason for new players to check out the game and old players to be revitalized and reinterested into this experience. Rush Week, while I think it is a good concept, is kind of coming at a bad time, in my opinion. I appreciate the fact that we have a new game mode to check out. I am interested in checking it out. I just can't shake the feeling that this is coming at the cost of the overall game experience and health. I'm willing to give them a shot on this. I've been willing to give the devs a shot at this, but I have to say that past experience doesn't give me high hopes for them to be able to deliver on this. Another thing I would love to see is more serious conversations with the devs. What we need is honesty, transparency, and accountability. I want them to be able to own what has gone wrong so far, kind of talk with us about what they were shooting for, what the experience actually turned out to be, what they've learned, and what they see themselves doing in the future to kind of correct the ship. I want them to give us reassurance more than anything, talk with us like we are a community, and preferably without the snarky attitude we have experienced time and time again in comments on live streams, comments on Reddit, comments on Twitter. This just builds division into your game community, and I cannot understand why they continue to do this. Your intentions are good, you're trying to do good things, no one is doubting that. Having some accountability that things haven't been delivered in the best possible way will not make me think you have ill intentions towards this game, but leaving me to wonder what the hell you're even thinking and then being snarky at us is going to give me a bad impression of how you look at us, the players. It's a shame because every time I take a break from this game, when I come back, there's all these new changes that they've dropped, all these new ideas that they have, and I want to come back and be excited for them. But looking at them for any length of time just makes me concerned. It's hard to be excited to be on the cruise, experiencing everything when you're not sure if anybody is at the helm piloting the boat. Maybe that's a harsh assessment, but this is just based on the past year and what we can kind of expect. So yeah, I am worried about Rush Week. I am. But I do want to check it out. I want to be able to give them the benefit of the doubt and try to go into the experience with an open mind. I just wish I didn't feel like I had to make continuous leaps of faith as a fan of this game. That maybe this time it will be worth my time. But what do you guys think? Are you excited for Rush Week? Anything else from the Content Pass catch your eye? Please let me know your overall feelings of how this game is going in the comments below. I hate to feel like I'm being such a downer on this game, but I just want it to do well. I want it to be something that I can continue to play in the future, and it feels like it's kind of tripping on its own shoelaces, which is frustrating. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you do have anything else you want me to cover, feel free to let me know. I'm HauntedHouse, and I'll see you next time, friends.